Lord have mercy, Chester the molester out on his Tinder date was really spilling the beans. Like in the first episode of the undercover date, we figured out that Orange Man Bad propaganda was CNN's modus operandi. And then they started to prop up and use the fear-mongering off the back of COVID with the death counter, spreading out all that disinformation, having a little bat phone off in the corner that Jeff Zucker, the CEO, would call up whenever something was tanking or not being interesting to just splash back up the big purple scary thing right on the side of your screen there to make sure that everybody is constantly in perpetual state of fear. And then we got today's race hustling. Who could have seen that one coming? So you got Orange Man Bad, you got fear-mongering, and now you got race hustling. Jesus Christ, anybody who spent a second perusing CNN knew that this one was coming down the pipe, but it's nice to have confirmation, I suppose. CNN director Charlie Chester says network is trying to help the Black Lives Matter movement by protecting the group's narrative on race. I haven't seen anything about focusing on the color of people's skin that aren't white. So earlier today, Project Veritas released its third installment of the Expose CNN series today. Yesterday I said they normally come out in 2 parts, and that's normally what they do, but who knows how long this is gonna fucking last. I hope it never stops, because this is just absolute gold. I don't care if anybody else finds this interesting, but I love to see the cabal of mainstream media just come out and expose themselves just in an attempt to expose themselves later, only to get a set of blue balls and a pink slip later. He was hoping for pink, but not in the paper form. Which features CNN technical director Charlie Chester opening up about the network's unwillingness to cover racial issues in an objective manner. Chester said he attempted to learn about Asian hate crimes and found the black on Asian crime was high. Uh-oh, he said the quiet part out loud. Fucking shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. But decided to refrain from delving deeper into the topic because it does not help Black Lives Matter narrative. Oh no. I was trying to do some research on Asian hate, like the people who are getting attacked and whatnot. A bunch of black men have been attacking Asians. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we, CNN, are trying to help Black Lives Matter, he said. Chester continued, the optics of that are not good. What, reality's optics are not good? This is becoming more and more like 1984 as the days go on, or as the Twitter dates become published. These are little things that are enough to set back movements, because the far left will start to latch on and create stories like criminalizing an entire people, you know. Just easier headlines that way, I guess. This kind of speaks to something before we read to the rest of it. Just a little aside, right? These people are so isolated, and by that I mean the media, not these people like Black Lives Matter. They're just whatever the fuck they are over there, trained Marxists and whatnot. They're so isolated in their own little bubble. They think that a narrative is more important than the actual truth, that the narrative is going to provide the ratings for you, where people are just looking to the news for truth, for facts. That's why new outlets are coming along. They are presenting their side of the story. It might have a different lean to it. It might have a little bit of a spin on it based on the bias of whoever's reporting it, right? Like, I could talk about several other things that happened today, but no, I just decided to choose these 3 topics because I find them interesting, and I hope you guys do as well. I just don't curtail what I find, okay? If I'm researching and I think that something's a little bit fucked up, it's like the Dante Wright shooting, right? Okay, I immediately thought, okay, media's telling me that it's an unarmed black guy that was shot and killed. It's like, okay, I know that there's going to be something behind this. It's like, okay, more than likely the officers probably got nothing to do with it. This person's been unfairly maligned. And then you take a look at the body cam footage and you realize that a bitch can't tell the difference between a firearm and a taser. And you just draw the conclusion that everybody involved is fucked, okay? It's like, I don't gain anything by just standing right with the police officer who shot him. It's like, okay, if you're going to tase him, you should have tased him, right? I could push a narrative of Blue Lives Matter, but I wouldn't be doing anything good. I wouldn't be telling the truth. I wouldn't be making a difference, even as little as I can right now. And then I'm not beholden to anybody else that's out there that wants to push this narrative because they think that it's somehow helping the world become a better place by appealing to the smallest minority who is the vocalist, parsing all your information from Twitter, monitoring all the little shitty boards that you think reflects the broader audience. You guys lost the plot a long time ago. Other people are picking it up and doing a better job, just like Project Veritas here. But back to this anyways. Chester admitted to a Veritas journalist that CNN refuses to report on racial issues unless it directly implicates white people. I haven't seen anything about focusing on the color of people's skin that aren't white. They, CNN, just aren't saying anything. You know what I mean. CNN has been covering the Black Lives Matter riots taking place in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, consistently during the last 3 days. Yes, Chester's revelation brings into question whether or not the network is impartial on the issue of race. I think we all know that. And now we have, remember, a technical director, not somebody who is an intern, not somebody who is fetching coffee and overheard something. This guy has direct influence into all of the talking head shows out there. He has a say on what they talk about because the people who are presenting those shows are just empty-headed morons, okay? And that was another revelation that they found there. I forget which part that was, and we probably talked about it as well. The fact that they just continue to bring on the guests that will take the baited questions, that will follow them down the corridor that they want to lead them to, in order to, look at our expert guest, right? Dr. Mengele says that George Floyd was a good boy and the fentanyl in his system, he could have sprinkled it on his Fruit Loops every morning and he would have been totally fine. And then he ends up coming on, Brian Stelter's show after he makes an appearance on Anderson Cooper, and then he moonlights on Don Lemon, and he comes back, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Because he looks good on camera, and you know he won't go off script. But instead, I don't think Kathy Newman's ever going to have Jordan Peterson back on, even though it was Channel 4's arguably largest interview that they've done, probably in a decade. Maybe of all time. I'm not too sure with British television, but everybody knows that. That one's a meme right there. And it would do you good if you just listen to somebody stating facts, okay? You might not agree with them. They might not agree with your worldview, but sometimes changing that stuff, sometimes burning off the dead wood of your ideology is highly, highly necessary, and I couldn't recommend it enough. And then in closing, Chester had this to say: you can shape an entire people's perception about anything depending on how you do it. And that right there is indicative of what mainstream media is all about. They just like the control, okay? They don't need to be elected. They don't need to be appointed. Joe Biden. They have the loudest microphone, and they can shift the country in whatever direction they want, right? I believe I played for you guys, or if you haven't heard it, please do seek it out as well. Charles Barkley's little speech when he said that politicians and the media are trying to divide people and keep them together instead of bringing them together. And that's what they think that they can do. That's what they think. I don't even know if they think that they can just do it, if they think that it's their right and their obligation to do it. I guess that's just the modern state of mainstream media. But that was the revelation of part 3, right? Okay, so they're race hustlers. I don't even know what could be next. It's like we've been keeping secret that Hitler has a space base built like a swastika on the moon, right? And we've been keeping it quiet for years. Nothing would shock me at this point. Or they really are putting chemicals in the water to turn the frickin' frogs gay. Oh my god. Instead, they reached out to their technical branch, right? Okay, so you got the body, the mainstream media, and then you got Facebook on one hand, who's already, I don't know, either censored or suppressed or throttled down Project Veritas' presence. And a couple of weeks ago, I forget which story it was. I think it was probably the CNN 8 o'clock production meeting calls. They got rid of Project Veritas's Twitter account, but James O'Keefe was allowed to stay around, and everybody kind of thought that his days were going to be numbered. And then with the exposed CNN push, he's out of there. Why? I don't know. Fucking, they're just making up their own rules of service, but they aren't going to like the repercussions of this. Twitter on Thursday permanently suspended Project Veritas president James O'Keefe's account. Mr. O'Keefe, a conservative activist, I think he's just a truth activist. I think he'd go after anybody who's corrupt. But that's neither here nor there. Was banned for violating Twitter's rules on platform manipulation and spam. How? Are they going to say a conversation between two people who are in a one-party consent state say that that's hacked material, manipulation. It's unedited footage. It's everything in context. You hear when you watch the video, you hear the question being asked and then it's answered. But again, I've been hit with several complaints from YouTube saying that the videos and what I put out on my channel is spam as well. And I show you everything that I talk about on the screen. So, O'Keefe disputed Twitter's claim, obviously. A Twitter spokesperson noted that the company's policies prevent users from misleading others on Twitter by operating fake accounts. I'm pretty sure his account was verified. Like, what? And stops users from artificially amplifying or disrupting conversations through the use of multiple accounts. Oh, this is one of them big blanket policies that they can just use to terminate anybody that has a dissenting opinion at any time. Prior to his suspension, Mr. O'Keefe was posting content that purported to show a CNN staffer talking about his network's efforts to defeat former President Donald Trump. Oh yeah, the undercover video was the latest result of the conservative activists' sting operation that Mr. O'Keefe and his supporters shared on the Twitter with Expose CNN. Mr. O'Keefe said Thursday he planned to sue Twitter for defamation in response to the actions. I am suing Twitter for defamation, because they said I, James O'Keefe, operated fake accounts. This is false, this is defamatory, and they will pay. Remember, he's undefeated in court. And the last time that a big media corporation took him to task, New York Times, Project Veritas sued them for defamation. And that court case is going through, so, sucks to suck. You got another skull for that wall there, James. Section 230 may have protected them before, but it will not protect them from me. The complaint will be filed on Monday. Monday. Looks like we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about on Monday. Twitter did not answer whether it deleted any other accounts, but it said the suspension means Mr. O'Keefe will not be able to start any new accounts on his platform. Fucking sucks to suck. I hope Twitter just kind of spirals off into the ocean because, okay, without Trump, well, since Trump has been banned off the platform, oh my God, is it just a desolate wasteland of Biden voters posting their L's online? And if you search the right hashtags, child pornography, that they don't bother taking off. That's why I'm not on that platform anymore. Fuck them. And remember, Jack Dorsey loves profiting off of cheese pizza. So yeah, I really hope that Project Veritas has more of these CNN clips. Like I said, not just for my entertainment. I think they're great. But just exposing the mainstream media cabal of being the propagandist we always expect them to be. Their words. I don't even have to fucking make it up myself. And we'll see where this goes. Because, okay, Crowder's got Facebook. O'Keefe has Twitter. Thomas wants to hear a case. Something's got to meet that threshold. Now, it looks like 230's days are starting to get numbered. You'll love to see it. And with that said, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.